They are not afraid to get super disgusting, covered in stuff that you can't imagine, going in knee-deep in flooded exhibits to scoop water out, and then they'll just go pick up their lunch and eat it as if nothing happened.
It's beautiful to watch this really unique relationship that our keepers have with every single resident that they oversee. Each relationship is different from animal to animal, and that really speaks a lot to our keepers and the time and the effort that they put in and the heart that they put into this organization.
I wish more people knew how gross keepers were, especially about animal bodily functions or moose earwax, just anything that may come from an animal. They like to talk about it for a long time.
Well, the biggest thing that everybody should know about the keepers at Cheyenne Mountain Zoo is that all of them are keepers, at least in my book.
One thing I wish more people knew about keepers is how punny you guys are. You are so funny.
Gosh, I think the one thing I wish I knew more about keepers was they're such interesting people outside of their jobs, and we don't get to spend a bunch of time here talking socially because there's so much important work that needs to be done. But every time I hear someone's personal story, I'm impressed by that. The quality of people that we have working here, how much they care about the world, the types of things they're doing in their personal lives is just as encouraging as it is when we find out what they're doing here professionally.
And I think our staff do an amazing job at continuing changing guest perception to showing that our animals live happy, healthy lives and engaging them in conservation in a way that I didn't get to as a kid. But I think it's so cool.
Oh man, I grew up with zoos in California, went to San Francisco Zoo, San Diego Zoo, and I always thought they were the coolest zoos in the world until I started working here and I met all of you guys, and now I know where the coolest zoo in the world is. So thank you for that.
So I grew up here in town. I grew up at this zoo. I've loved the zoo since I was a kid, but when I think about our keepers, when I was a child, I can't think of any time that I really got to interact with a keeper. And since I moved back 4 years ago, I can say that's drastically different. Every time you see a keeper, they're engaged, they're smiling, they want to talk about their animals. They will stand and talk to you for as long as you will listen. And I've learned more about our zoo and our animal ambassadors in the last 4 years than I have my entire time coming here. And that totally speaks to our keeper team and their engagement with everyone around them and their engagement with our animals and wanting to just tell their story.
Keepers have definitely impacted my perception of zoos, mostly because they're so passionate about the animals that they take care of, and it spreads. It makes you fall in love with the animals just because they're in love with them.
For me, one of the realizations that I had very recently was I've had the good fortune of going to lots of great zoos, and what that typically means is zoos with new exhibits and zoos where the infrastructure is clean and that kind of thing. But what I realized, zoos have often left me feeling not very satisfied. And when I was recently at a very nice zoo, they had great, beautiful grounds and horticulture and plants, and they had beautiful exhibits. They had plenty of places that had shade and playgrounds and that sort of thing. And what I realized was really without the staff to make that come to life and without the healthy animals to make that come to life, the zoos end up just being a place that is a really great park to go to with lots of pretty exhibits and plants. It is the keepers and then the healthy animals that really make the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo a special place.